the was launched.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of AF24NEWS Talks. Today I'm joined by Dr. Olabisi Dejifolutile and Mr. Martin Ayokola, directors here at AF24NEWS. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me too.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you to our audience for joining us again. Today we are going to be talking about this situation of affecting the Dangote Refinery. Actually, about a year ago today, or a year ago, a little over a year ago, the refinery was commissioned by then President Muhammadu Buhari. But since then, it has just failed to, enter its stride. And recently, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority announced that the government is even yet to license the refinery to commence operations in the country. And so we went from, having so much hope in what the refinery could bring to Nigeria to the reality that we see today of noises of, there's a sabotage going on, to the quality of the products coming from the refinery is poor, and so many other voices on what is happening so far with the refinery. So I want to just start by asking what you think, from Dr. Dejifolutile, what do you think is the reason? There are so many people bringing so many conspiracy theories. What do you think is the reason the capacity has not yet quite operated at its full capacity or taking off?
Oh, thanks for your question. And I can't actually deduce a reason, but I think what I can just say is that many of us as Nigerians right now, can I say confused about what is going on? Confusion in the sense that when this refinery was first of all introduced to us, it was the narrative then was that it was like the game changer, and that many things were going to go well for us as citizens and the rest. You know how important petrol is to us, to the economy. So, and we thought Dangote had all the support of government, to the point that even when some of us were expressing reservations about the completion of that project before the exit of former President Muhammadu Buhari, there were assurances from everywhere that the project had been, completed. I remember some journalists did stories that suggested that that refinery was not 100% completed and the rest. Okay, now fast forward 1 year. Every time we hear things like by April, we start producing, Dangote Refinery will start producing, giving us petroleum. A month, 2 months after, we will hear another thing. So they just keep changing and changing until this recent episode where the regulatory agency is now saying that this refinery is not even licensed. It didn't stop there. It's saying that even the product, the quality is not even, does not meet international standard. And when you look at all of these things, you just wonder what is going on. Is it a case of sabotage? Is it a case of some people not wanting the refinery to work? And by the time we start listening to what Dangote himself is now saying about what is going on, you now wonder that whose interest is being protected here? Is it the interest of Nigerians? Is it about the interest of some people in government who do not want the refinery to work, who are interested in getting imports because of whatever gain they could be making from it? Is it because Dangote itself, the refinery itself, has has not met international standard. The products have not met international standard as being suggested. But long and short, I think also that this thing that has happened has also opened the eyes of many Nigerians to different kinds of intricacies, different kinds of politicking that have been taking place in this our oil our oil sector politics. So many issues are definitely involved, many that Nigerians may not know, but definitely it is a power game. It is also a game of probably that money is involved, right? When I say money being involved, like some people are benefiting from imports, or you get it, and the fact that maybe and maybe not, like some people are now claiming, including the regulatory agency, that they don't want a monopolist, that Dangote has been a monopolist and the rest. So you will see that different factors, different things, but mine is, where are Nigerians in all of this?
I want to even now get, I don't know, if there is another view of what could be the possible reason beyond that that analysis that doctor just gave.
My my first view on this issue is that I think there is too much politics, within it. Too much politics, and these are just for me straightforward things. If you set up a refinery, the regulator has a right to say whatever you produce there, whatever you do there must be up to up to standard. You understand? So I think, yes, it's a good thing. Everybody supports the fact that Dangote has, spent $20 billion to set up the refinery. He's done what no private sector person in Nigeria has ever done. Looking for money everywhere to ensure that the refinery was set up is a good thing, and it's very highly commendable. But then, the refinery, just like any other operator in the upstream or downstream sector, should be subjected to the rules and regulations of the industry. So if he needs a license before he starts to operate, I think he should be humble enough to get a license. And if some of his products or whatever have not been duly approved by the NMDPRA, he should get approval. You understand? Because we shouldn't be politicizing some of these issues. If that is the standard procedure, let them follow the standard procedure. Because you can't go to the US or UK and you follow the procedure there, because you are somebody who knows people in government. That is my own opinion. You understand? So whatever though of course the NMDPRA guy also said something that I shouldn't have said, like saying things that look like as if he's demarketing the refinery or something. But in terms of the issues around licensing and stuff, it's within his rights to say those things. And then if he says that the diesel produced by Dangote is not of the right quality and standard, it's within his rights to say so, because he knows it. You understand? And so basically, I think the Dangote refinery should learn to, play by the rules, so to say. It should just be about they are doing this, they are doing that to us. They should also play by the rules, do the normal thing, because if they go and operate in developed countries, they must play by the rules, no matter who you are or who you think you are. You must play by the rules. The biggest players in the US, regulators, sanction them every now and then. I mean, guys like a Twitter man and all of them, they get sanctioned by the US regulators. So it's not a big deal. The regulator has a right to say, hey, you are not following we are not following the right standards and we must enforce standards. So I don't see that as being, I think it's just mere politics. If they say you must do the right things, you must get the right license and stuff for this and that, I don't think you should be complaining about it. I think you should just do the right thing, basically.
The CEO of the NMDPRA also said he kind of tried to dispel the other claims about the reason this thing is being disrupted is because they want imports to continue, and trying to mirror the fact that the NNPC itself has never really met the target of how much crude is supposed to even supply to the refinery, and Dangote has been looking for imports, even from, I think, Libya recently, a few weeks ago, was seeking how to get oil imports to the refinery for processing from external sources. So I want to ask about that point of, like, when the regulator says, or they want to avoid a monopoly, for instance, how does that mirror the situation on ground that we see? How do they make that connection?
Honestly speaking, my colleague here is saying that it's not really a big deal, regulatory issues. I don't think Dangote will spend $20 billion to set up a refinery, and we now think that he wouldn't follow the other due processes that has to do with licensing and the rest. And I also believe that there must have been some levels of licensing that could have even made it to set up such a huge refinery in the first instance. So I see that issue of the place has not even been registered or licensed as a distraction, because the truth is, what does it take, for example, to get whatever license that is supposed to be licensed? If all of us are looking at this thing as a solution to our problem as a country, do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, and then what has licensing got to do with we don't want a monopoly? Do you get it? All the statements coming from the regulatory agency boss just shows that there are other issues behind what we can see. Now, for example, Dangote said Nigeria has been importing fuel since how many years? Since many people were born, 1972 or whatever, in the 70s. Okay, we are still doing that right now, right? Now, even with Dangote, we will still continue to do, most likely. And when you talk about monopoly, we have 3 refineries, for crying out loud, that the federal government is managing. What is the state of these refineries today? What are we getting from those refineries? Then when it comes to monopoly again, okay, Dangote refinery got license to establish a refinery. Okay, he bidded for it now. He couldn't have just, how many businessmen went to bid for that kind of project? How many people can even afford to even go into that? What I'm trying to say is that, you see, if we want to grow, we should encourage local industrialists or people or business people to invest. And when we do that, we should encourage them. I know that the man has gotten a lot of encouragement in the past, and even it is encouragement that brought him to where he is. But from the utterances I hear now, I have seen that some of the things that we even thought were things that government did for the man, government didn't really do much. For example, the disclosure that $100 million was paid to the Lagos state government for the land. We didn't know that one. And the man said that he didn't even get any incentive from the federal government. The federal government has not denied that. Now, the man says people is even looking for products to even bring in, which means that even our own crude here can't even do the job. You understand? So I just feel that all the statements here and there, they are not adding up for me, especially when I look at the situation of Nigeria on its own, and I look at an opportunity where the country can earn about 30% forex savings from forex, okay, savings from forex. So what are we talking about? Okay, monopoly and no licensing, are they the things we should be talking about now? Or how can we quicken this process so that we can even have I read today now that our crude level, our output has even reduced to 1.4 million barrels per day. We can't even produce the OPEC quota that they gave to us. So what are we getting? I'm sure Martin will be able to talk more on that. They said we are getting 1.4, that it has reduced to 1.4 before, and that is our major source of income, major source of revenue. So I don't know what is going on here really, and I think they should do something about it. They should just sort themselves out and allow us to reap the benefit of whatever. We don't even want to know whether Dangote was a monopoly or what is that other game self apart from monopoly? Chess. Whether he's a chess player or he's playing monopoly, we don't even want to know. All we want is we want concrete movement, forward movement.
Well, my take first, I would have expected that Dangote, while setting up the Dangote Refinery, should also have thought deeply about where to get crude oil for the refinery. Now, just like Madam said, there was a time under Buhari, I think September 2022, I think, that we produced less than 1 million barrels per day. This refinery has a capacity of 750,000 barrels per day. Now, out of the crude we produce, the oil companies will take their own share, NNPC will take their own share. So I doubt whether the share of, if you have 1.4 or 1, but I even say 1.4 now, I think probably it could also be an improvement because we're actually doing 1.3 lately. So I know maybe if we are doing 1.4, that means we have moved up by 100 or so. So, but we used to do 2.4 million barrels per day before. So we don't really have crude. Remember, NNPC also does a swap, crude oil swap agreements and all that with some kind of almost like 445,000 barrels per day or so. So at the end of the day, what will be left will not be much. So my thought is that what Dangote is doing now, he should have done before. You understand? There's a Yoruba proverb that says, at a rock market, Ikeja, when you are supposed to have envisaged that something is like this, because it's something that you could have analyzed, that can I get 650,000 barrels per day from these people? Then NNPC goes to take this loan, that loan, and they are dedicating some 30,000 barrels per day to it, 20,000 barrels per day. So at the end, if you look at it, then you cannot. I also don't like the idea of even, blaming the oil majors. My opinion is that oil majors are investors. They will pay petroleum, profit tax, pay royalty, pay everything to government. So their own crude, they should be able to decide where they want to sell it. You can't be compelling them because you're also a businessman. That is on one side. Two, on the issue of diesel, talking about diesel importation, I was also wondering why Dangote Refinery was talking about diesel importation. Why that should be his problem. My thinking is that there's a way you could make importation, unattractive. If you sell cheaper than the one they import, nobody will go and import again now. If let's say they are importing, their landing cost when they bring diesel in is about 1,001 and you are selling yours at 950, what would be the incentive for anybody to import?
Maybe they don't want him to do that. Maybe that is why they are talking about.
My thought is that, you see, those who are also talking about.
Maybe that's why they are talking about the quality.
No,
of his
but
own
those things
diesel.
are measurable. They are not things you can lie about. If they lie against him, you can publicly measure it. You can get experts to say, okay, let's measure it. You understand? So they are not things that people can lie about. I think people are also talking about issues of monopoly. They also have a point. You understand? Because if only one person is bringing something, you could also be buying it from that person at the same rate that you could have bought it from outside. So if we are producing, refining here and producing products here, we should benefit from it. I mean, benefit from the fact that it's being produced here in terms of pricing.
So I don't understand that monopoly aspect.
No, what I'm saying is that the point I'm making is that if we are producing locally, if something is being refined locally, it should be at least slightly cheaper than what they bring from outside. And that in itself, if that holds, that happens, will make importation unattractive, because when even people who are distributing petrol products, if they can get it cheaper here, they won't buy from importers now. You understand? So if Dangote can be very so effective in his production process to the extent that he's able to make cheaper fuel available, it's relative. The cheaper fuel is relative. There just be a difference of 100 naira or 200 naira. But that would be, if it's 100 naira per liter difference or 200 naira per, that would be a big thing for people who are distributing, because they are looking at the margins. So my own is that when we were complaining about they are allowing people to import, I said, look, if people will continue to import, if the cost of the price of imported product is at par with what you're also giving us here, maybe it's not. It will stop at some point, even without you making any noise. Because if you can do your own diesel at 900 naira, because you are producing it in Nigeria, and they are bringing it from outside, they will pay freight costs, they will pay tax where they are bringing it from. So why should they be able to compete with your own if something is not wrong? That is my own thought. You understand? And people who are talking about monopoly, that's what I was thinking about. So, and I also believe, because Dangote, yes, he did very well. I've commended him from the beginning. He's a businessman and all that, but he's still a businessman. He wants to make profit. So, yes, it's good. Nigeria will benefit. It will add value to our economy. It's going to list on the stock exchange. But that's what I'm saying. But they should also be subjected to the rules of the country, so that we can have sanity. So the issue, those who are also raising the issue of monopoly, they may also have a point. That's the point I'm making. That if you are not saying they shouldn't import and the only person supplying, that means you also dictate the price. You understand? So if you don't have competing prices, let your own, pricing system, let it be the reason why others cannot import again. Not because you are compelling them compelling government to say, don't let them bring it in. Do your own pricing system in such a way that the going out to import will be unattractive. That is my own point. That why are they not focusing? Why are they trying to muzzle? I also don't like those tactics. You have not really started. The refinery has not really been fully licensed. You have not really got your acts right, and you want to muzzle other people out of the business. I don't also seem to get that. So that's my own take there.
Well, Dangote himself announced his willingness to sell the refinery to the NNPC yesterday. I don't know if he said it in jest, but he said he was willing to take a $20 billion offer if they want to take it off his hands. In his own words, he's an old man. He doesn't need much to get by again. And it feels like, and he also made a even jest about how he has a friend who Nairametrics said, and is an internal source, referred to that friend as Motedola actually.
Okay.
And that his friend mocked him for wanting to build a refinery in Nigeria, and that friend is diversifying his own portfolio in foreign markets, and that now he's mocking Dangote for what is going through now, because he had envisaged that policy making is not stable in Nigeria and things of that nature. So do you think that comment by Dangote, is he baiting, is it a tactic, or do you really think that it is something that is is actually considering, and if he even was considering that, what do you think should be the is that a good posture from him or not? What do you think the alternative action should be from his own end?
I think he's just joking. Yeah, I think when you start a gigantic project like that, there will be teething problems. So I guess we're just witnessing some teething problems. The project has not really fully taken off. So over time, it's going to get over those problems and things will be better. But what I'm just saying is that I appreciate the fact that he has built probably the biggest refinery. I think not probably the biggest refinery in Africa, and maybe one of the biggest in the world. I don't know whether it's the biggest in the world. So it's a very commendable thing. And for a man to have, dreamt that dream and maybe brought it to reality is highly commendable. But that does not mean that we shouldn't also tell him that, look, you have to play by the rules. You have to play by the rules. You have done well, you have tried, you have, done what government couldn't. We have 4 refineries with a refining capacity of, in fact, what he has done is even bigger than the 4 refineries of NNPC. The total capacity of the 4 refineries of NNPC is 445,000 barrels per day. This guy did 650,000 barrels per day. So it's even bigger than all the 4 refineries. Port Harcourt, the 2 Port Harcourt refineries, old and new. The total capacity is 210,000 barrels per day. Warri is 125,000 barrels per day. Kaduna is 110,000 barrels per day, I think. So, and the fact that he's able to build just a single one that is bigger than all the ones we have is highly commendable. But he should also learn to play by the rules. You see, it's very easy. Those issues that they are discussing, it's very easy to know who is saying the truth or who is misbehaving. It's very easy because for instance, if the regulator is lying about licensing, it will know. Even the regulator said they have people there, they have engineers who are there, monitoring them, filing reports on a daily basis. So the guy knows what he's saying. If he's saying that the refinery has not been fully completed, he knows what he's saying because he has the facts. His engineers are on site. You understand? So that's why I said maybe they want to start to do everything too quickly. So they should also learn to do one thing at a time. Ensure that everything is done the right way. And then we move forward. Because if we don't do things the right way, then it's also not good.
My point, maybe final thoughts, I don't know. I wonder why, for example, I wonder where the regulatory agency was when this refinery was being commissioned last year. Because that's another point. This refinery was commissioned, inaugurated by the president. And the impression that they gave everybody was that it was complete. So where were they? Which means that you can't even believe what government says. You can't believe what a businessman says. If you can't believe the businessman, at least you should be able to believe the government, because the government should work for the country. But from all of these things, we've seen that we've been fed with lies. Apparently, because I don't know why a refinery that is not completed should be commissioned. I don't know why a refinery that is not licensed should be promising that it will bring in fuel at a particular time, and this, and even you've heard government agencies even saying such things too, like don't worry, there is hope. By the time this comes up, it will reduce this, it will reduce the pressure on naira, it will do this and that. You get it. And all of a sudden, you now come to see these kind of things. I think, of course, the House of Reps has told Dangote and the regulatory bodies. Don't forget the revelation we also had that NNPC didn't even contribute the 20% money towards the 20% of ownership of that refinery. That's another revelation. that we are just getting from all of these crises. So I just feel that we need more transparency, more honesty. Even if businesses try to deceive us as Nigerians, government bodies that are supposed to be working for the people should also do better, so that we get a true picture of what's going on. Because as it is now, there are still areas that are covered in some kind of, I won't call them mystery, but there are gray areas that are not really too clear. So we just hope that in the days ahead, we will get better perspective of the things.
You see, in other climes, all these visits by senators, it's just the regulator. The company will not be relating with regulators, and you are not going to do anything outside the normal rules. So I mean, we do things. We inject politics into virtually everything we do. We are even into business as sensitive as that kind of thing. Things that should be done properly. We'll be discussing, throwing politics into it every time. But I think, the potential of the refinery is huge. I think the refinery is going to do very well going forward. And I think it's going to add a lot of value to the Nigerian economy. But I think it sees that Dangote must play by the rules. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you to our viewers for joining us. Thank you for staying through the conversation. If you have any thoughts about what's going on with the refinery and with the regulators, you can put it in the comment section. You can also follow AF24 News Stories on YouTube and follow our social media platforms across Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And follow www.af24news.com to see more news updates from us. Thank you for joining us today and have a wonderful week.